This is the exact strategy that I've used to turn my knowledge into a 6-figure business in 3 years without any advertising. Welcome to Profit Co-Pilot. My name is Mick Meaney, and today I'm going to walk you through my entire business model from top to bottom. I'm going to have some handy resources for you as well if you want to dive into any particular area. So the first thing that it really comes down to, no matter what type of business you're doing or what business model you use, the number one most important thing is marketing. Because if you don't market the business, then no one's going to get the benefits, right? You're not going to be able to help anyone. So with that said, the business model that I'm walking you through today is an information product business. So it's all about taking the stuff that you know in your head or the stuff that you enjoy learning about and then converting that into products and selling them to create, hopefully in time, some passive income. But this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of work and you have to be very consistent with it. It's taken me 3 years of publishing content on a very regular basis. And then often when we start these kind of projects, we don't see any results for such a long time, okay? This is the truth. This is what no one out there wants to tell you, because if you knew this, you wouldn't buy their $4,000 mentorship package or whatever, right? The truth is, with this type of business model, even though you can make passive income, it takes a long time to get there. So you will probably not see any results or very little results for maybe 6, 12, possibly even 18 months. And that's just the way it is, unless you have a massive advertising budget. I'll talk about traffic in a second. I'll tell you how to acquire customers, because really there's 2 ways to do it. So you can earn traffic or you can buy traffic. My path is through earned traffic. So I create content on a very regular basis, knowing that over time it will compound and then the results will eventually snowball. So it looks kind of like flat for a few months, probably more than a few months. And then slowly, little by little, as you keep going, as you commit to this process and realize that it's a long journey, eventually you start to get results. And then those results compound and they build over time. And then there's a tipping point where all your effort that you've put in over the year or however long it takes, eventually it all compounds and then it snowballs and you get results very quickly. So you can go from practically 0 to 6 figures in the space of a couple of years. For me, it's taken 3 years. But, a good year of that was nothing. I didn't see hardly any results. And that was okay, because I knew the process. I've done this before. I've been doing this kind of stuff for 20-something years. So I know the process. It's all good. So you have to pick a niche that you have some level of passion for, something that you genuinely enjoy talking about, and something that you would be happy to chat about for hours for free, because that's exactly what you have to do to get that passive income. So this is not an overnight thing. It takes consistent hard work. I say hard work. Once you have a system in place, it's all kind of straightforward stuff. Excuse me, I'm going to drink a coffee while I teach you today. So what I want you to do is think about the topics that you know about, that you enjoy learning about. And that's going to be your starting point. I'm going to show you how to do some actual niche research today. So you need to know your avatar. So it goes like this, right? Marketing is number 1. Top of the pile. Most important thing in your business. Second most important thing is your customer. So the marketing is to get the right customers so you can, get your message in front of the people who need your help. And then the second most important thing, is actually help them. So that comes down to having the right avatar. How do you form the avatar? So you have to think of a very specific person that you want to help. You have to have an image in your head of who you're going to communicate to. So it's not a case of, well, I want to help everyone or anyone who will listen. When you do that, you know you'll end up helping no one because it's not targeted. So how do you find the avatar? Well, we look for a couple of things. So first of all is demographics. So it's who you want to help and where they are. And then we also have psychographics, which is the values, the reason why we help them. So think of it like this. You have your demographics to find out who you want to help. Then you have psychographics to find out why you want to help them, why they need your help. So to do this, think about these specific circumstances. One of the best examples that I can give you is if we look at weight loss. We don't enter the weight loss niche or industry. We drill down, we niche down. So we can go weight loss for men. And that's a good start, but it's still going to take a little bit of niching down to get to that real specific audience. So you could go weight loss for men over 40. Now you know the specific circumstances, demographics, and psychographics of how to communicate to those people and nobody else. Because a lot of this stuff, especially the information product business, is all about positioning yourself as an expert. If people don't believe that you can help them, guess what? They're not going to trust you enough to do business with you. So you have to position yourself as an expert. The easiest way to do that is to niche down to a very specific level. So instead of trying to help everyone who wants to lose weight, and instead of just trying to help all men who want to lose weight, you niche down to a very specific core audience of men over 40 who want to lose weight. So that's a very specific circumstance. And that is going to allow you to position yourself in front of these people easier than if you just try to appeal to everyone, because the competition level is just going to be crazy high. Okay, let's do some niche research and validation. So head over to Google, type in a couple of seed keywords, so maybe weight loss. And now we start to niche down, so weight loss for men. So we have this autocomplete list. Now, if your chosen niche is on here, that's a very positive sign. So we can see weight loss for men over 40. This means that people are actively searching for this key phrase. So we'll go with that. Now we have to check that adverts are being run to target those people, because if people are running ads, chances are they're getting a good return on investment. So it makes sense to target the same people. And here we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 ads on the front page. We also want to make sure that people are also asking other questions. If we go down to the bottom here, we have related searches. That's good stuff too. Now we go to Google Trends. We type in the key phrase, so weight loss for men over 40. And what we want to see, some kind of worldwide activity, or if you're just targeting people in a certain country, make sure that there is some activity and it is increasing or at least stable. We don't want to see it decreasing. So we can zoom out to the last 5 years, or we can go even from 2004 to see how the trend has gone. So we should see that over time, yeah, it's pretty much increasing, and we can see a fairly rough prediction. So there is some activity there. Ideally, we want to see things a little bit more consistent. Let me show you. So if we go weight loss for men over the same period, it starts to level off. That's fine. That looks like a pretty consistent line to me. However, we have seen activity when we add for or over 40. So there is interest in this, and that's all we really need to do to validate that there is people actually searching the internet for this topic. Another strategy we can use to validate this is go to Amazon, type in your key phrase. So we go weight loss for men. Let's see that people are actually buying information products. Of course, we have a whole heap of different products, but we want to make sure that information products are being sold. So here, go to all, go down to either Kindle store or books. We can also check magazines as well. So let's just check that books are being sold. How we do that is through the number of reviews. So what we want to see is some activity. Even if there's only a couple of reviews, that's a good indication. So we can see that a lot of these products don't have any reviews. So that tells us chances are people are not buying them. But if we look at this one, over 1,000 reviews. So we can be fairly certain that if people are buying things like books for that topic, chances are they're also going to buy other information products as well. With that said, let me give you some numbers in a second, because we need to make this stuff tangible, right? No point me telling you how to do this unless I give you an actual map of how to do it, so you can actually see for yourself that this is tangible. But there are a few ways to make money from an information product business. So the easiest one, or not the easiest, sorry, the most widely known is through books. So that's a really good way to do it, but it takes time. And you're putting all this effort and energy into something that you don't really know if it's going to sell or not. So I say, well, think about doing books. That's more of like a long-term strategy once you already have an audience built. Then we've got things like audio programs, really quick and easy to make. You literally just talk into a microphone and help people to solve problems that way. We have courses, which tends to be where I put a lot of my focus on. We also have things like mentorship. We have coaching programs, group coaching, and seminars, virtual seminars as well. So there's lots of ways to monetize the knowledge in your head and turn that into actionable information. So you really just have to choose one of these that you're fairly comfortable with. So we can start, most people actually start with an ebook. So it's not like a 200-page thing. It's just like maybe 10 pages, a quick little how-to guide, and then they sell that for about $7. You can sell them for, quite a lot more. The most expensive one I've ever sold was around $100, just under $100. It was $99. And that sold quite well, but that was over 100 pages. And it was absolutely cutting-edge psychological techniques to increase conversions. But I only did that when I knew it would already sell. These days, I'm publishing on Amazon Kindle. Let me show you. We've got this book that I've published a while ago on creating profitable web traffic. Now, in my business, this doesn't create much revenue because I have intentionally reduced the price to practically nothing. In fact, if you're a Kindle Unlimited member, then you'll get this for free. So I've basically charged the minimum amount that I can to get listed on Amazon Kindle. So what that actually serves as is almost top of funnel content. I'll speak about funnels in a couple of minutes, but basically it's just a way to get my message out there to the people who need it most. So let me give you some numbers, then I'll walk you through how else I'm monetizing, because we don't just leave it with Kindle. You don't have to do that. It's just an additional thing. But I only did that when I knew that there was an audience there of people willing to consume it. And that's really important because we don't want to waste time making and selling products that fall flat. I've done that myself a few times. I've had some massive successes, but I've also had some epic failures. Because as I was learning through the process and trying things out, I didn't survey my audience properly. I didn't listen to what they were actually telling me. I didn't know how to read that data. And then I didn't create products that they wanted. So I've had failures along the way. In fact, success is usually built, think of it as a road built with bricks. of failure and these bricks of failure bricks, you know. So your success will probably be built upon a lot of failure. Mine certainly is. And that's okay. So let me walk you through a few numbers, because let's say if we want to make 100 grand a year, 6 figures a year, how do we do that? Well, 100 grand a year works out at around 8.3 grand a month. So now we've broken it down into something a little bit more manageable. In fact, if we sell, let's say, a product, an information product for just $100, which isn't a particularly high ticket item. So let's call that the product. Let's put prod there for product. And to generate that, let's say 8 grand a month, we need to sell 80 products. Selling 80 products might seem a lot, but if we break that down into weekly, then it only comes to 20 sales a week. In fact, it comes to just over 2.5 sales a day. So when you look at it like that, if you can make, over the course of a couple of days, maybe a handful of sales, 5 sales, you're going to do pretty well from this. So now it becomes more manageable, easier to achieve. So that's one way to do it. Let me show you another way to do it, because this way is more fun. It takes a bit more work, but it can be done. And that is to use the continuity method. So think about the way Netflix builds their business. So people pay a small recurring amount every month to access the content. So let's say we have a product that is going to be cheaper than $100 because we want people to continue to spend every month, right? So with this model, I think the most expensive one I've seen recently is probably Frank Kern's one, which is about $250 a month for his inner circle. But we're not all Frank Kern, so we can't charge those kind of epic rates. So instead, let's make this a bit more realistic. So let's say we're charging $30 a month for access to a membership. You can, reduce this or increase it to suit yourself. So we have 12 months in the year. So the first month, let's go right the way through to the 12th month. So in the first month, if you get one sale a day at $30 each, well, in your first month, that's going to be $900. And then in your second month, because we have new customers coming in, plus the customers that have already paid, well, we get double that. So the second month, that's going to be $1,800. Oops, let me fix that. $1,800 a month. And then in month 3, because we have 2 months worth of customers still paying, plus new customers coming in, that's $2,700. Then month 4, it's $3,600, and so on and so on. So by the 12th month, you should be getting around $10K a month from that point onwards. So your total in the first year comes to around $70K. And then in your second year, you're going to make at least double that. Now, of course, this assumes that you're getting new customers and retaining your existing customers. Of course, it's not going to work out exactly like that. But this is a very loose structure that you can use. And hopefully this is going to make it more tangible for you. I remember the moment I realized this. I was round at my friend Sean's house. I was sat on her living room floor. I had a laptop. I had loads of notes around me. I was trying to figure out how to get this business up and running and make the most money in the least amount of time. And I stumbled across this. It was like, oh, if I just do this and put all my energy into doing this, then I'm going to hit my target of 6 figures fairly quickly. Actually, it took longer than I expected, but we did it in 3 years. So that's a success in my book. So for best results, you take this model, which is information products, and then you take the continuity program and you combine them together. And what happens then you make a lot more money for a start. So once you have your numbers worked out roughly and you know who you're going to sell to, we have to move on to creating content. So we think of content as almost like a bait. Cam Jennings says it really well. So he calls each piece of content like a piece of bait on a fishing line. So the more lines you have, the more fish you're going to catch. So view content like that. So you have to be consistent. You have to keep producing more on a very, very regular basis. I would recommend absolute minimum once a week. But if you want results faster, increase that. If you can produce one piece of content every day, you are going to get results much quicker than someone who produces content, just once a week. A happy medium between that is around 3 times a week. That is generally something that you should be aiming for. And I know the thought of having to create 3 pieces of content a week can seem daunting, but we have tools that will assist us, to do it, which I'm going to walk you through today. So the first one that we're going to use is called Phrase. So let me just log in. And what I like about Phrase is it has this question ideas section. So let's say we want to help people solve anxiety. So what we could do is type in anxiety and see what the market is talking about. So it's going to take a couple of seconds to bring back lots of data. So people are currently asking what are 5 symptoms of anxiety? What anxiety can do to your body. Listen, we can narrow this down and get a bit more niche in a second. But if we have a look at the source, it tells us where it's from. So we've got people also ask. So if we go to Google and we type in anxiety, we have this people also ask section. What Phrase does, it basically pulls in that data and makes it easier for us to see. It also has this related section. So if we go to Google, scroll down right to the bottom of the page, and these SERP results are kind of increasing in size, aren't they? So we have anxiety treatment, how to deal with anxiety. So there you can see that is pulling from there. It also has autocomplete. So let me show you autocomplete. The reason why I'm doing this is because you might not want to spend $50 or whatever it is for Phrase. Let's check that, because if we go with the unlimited one, which I recommend, then that costs practically $115 a month. But you don't have to do that. So that's why I'm showing you how to do it with the Google search engine, because I understand that you might not want to spend that amount of money on a tool. So autocomplete, that is if we type in a keyword here like anxiety, and then we have this drop down list. So that's autocomplete. But the great thing about Phrase is it also drills down into Quora. So it shows questions from Quora and Reddit. That's why I'm using Phrase, so I can get all this data in one place. It also helps us to create an outline. So once we know what keywords we're going to target, we can just very quickly and easily create an outline for that content, so we know the main talking points. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let's drill down with this a little bit further. So let's say anxiety. Let's add in students. So anxiety, students, these could be seed keywords. Take a few minutes. So what causes student anxiety? How do I help my anxious student? So this is from a parent's point of view. That could be worth targeting. So let's say we go with that. So we'll take that keyword. Then we will go to a keyword tool like SEMRush, and we put in the key phrase. Now SEMRush, they have a free version available. You don't have to pay for the full version. It starts at around $119 a month. I think if you are paying for SEMRush, then the Guru package is probably the best one. That's where you get the most value. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to pay to use it. You get a limited number of searches for free, and they show you a small amount of search volume data. So let's have a look at that. And it's got nothing for us. Let's actually expand out. So anxious student, let's see what we've got. And now we've got quite a lot of data to go through. So we can see the search volume, we can see the trend over time, and we can see how competitive it is. So what I look for is some activity. And even if there's a big fat 0, that tells me there is some activity for the key phrase. I don't worry too much about search volume. I worry more about how I can deliver value to those people by making the best possible piece of content that I can. That's my focus. It's not so much on keyword volume. Obviously, if the keyword volume is like sky high, hundreds of thousands of searches a month, I won't touch it. That is probably too competitive. But if it's a reasonable figure, even if that's 0, then I'll probably go for it. Another website that I really like is Answer the Public. It generates loads of keyword suggestions and content ideas. So answerthepublic.com. Let me show you another tool that I'm using. This is really for YouTube. So let me drag in this window so you can see it properly. So here, if we click on this little button here, I've got this Keyword Explorer tool. This is a free tool called TubeBuddy. Now I'm using the premium version. Let me double check how much that costs. So it starts at $7 a month, thereabouts, and goes up to Legend. That's the one that I'm using at the moment because it gives unlimited keyword searches. They do have a free version available, so don't worry if you feel like you have to spend loads of money on tools. You absolutely don't, but if you do, then it's going to make things quicker and easier for you. But listen, only invest in tools when you're absolutely certain that you're going to make a good return on investment. So here's how I use TubeBuddy. So I'll put in a couple of seed keywords. So I'm typing in anxiety, and here we have a list of autocomplete suggestions, but I might want to narrow it down. So anxiety students, anxiety studying. Well, let's see what the search volume is for anxiety students. So it's a good idea when you're creating content and generating content ideas is to think about the problem that you solve. So we're not creating content for entertainment purposes. We're not creating content for our own benefit. We're always creating content that will benefit someone else, and we put their needs first. It's all about helping people. So here we can see that the overall score for me to rank under these keywords is pretty good. The search volume is poor, it's low. Competition is pretty high. Optimization strength, is pretty high. And then number of monthly searches, 733. So this is all weighted for my channel, for the Profit Copilot channel, which is going to be different for every channel. So TubeBuddy will analyze your content, where you currently are, and then it will make predictions on the best type of content for you. That's how I do my research. Once I know that there's a topic that people are actually interested in, they really do need help with, what I'll do is I'll take the keywords. So let's say student anxiety. I'll create a new document in Phrase. So I'll put the target search query there, click create document, and now it's going to go out and have a look at the search engine results pages. It's going to do an analysis and bring back a very good comparison and tell me exactly what I need to do to create content that can compete with that. So this is really beneficial if you're a blogger or if you intend on becoming a blogger. You can also use the outline and the structure for YouTube videos. So if I'm really struggling for ideas and I'm not really sure how to structure the knowledge in my head, I'll use Phrase to help me map out an outline. So what it's doing is showing me an overview of what Google expects to see from your content. So word count, 2,000 words, 5 headers, 3 links, and 3 images. That is the average result of the search engine results pages. And then down here we can see all the headings, the H2, the H3 tags, and these are the outlines of your competitors' content. So here we can create a brief. So if we like the look of this piece of content, so we can copy in that subheading to use as inspiration. We can go through another one, so we can copy in that one. We can add that as well. And over time, we can build this pretty comprehensive outline for your content. Now, we don't take people's content and reuse it as is. What we do is we remix things. So we use what people have already done in the past, plus combined with our own knowledge and our own experiences to create something brand new. And then when we have a piece of content written, which I'll show you how to do very easily in a second using artificial intelligence, then Phrase will give it a topic score. So let me show you one that I've done previously. This is a piece of content that I made the other day. If you're on the YouTube channel, you probably recognize this. So here we have topic score. If we click that, it's going to give me a list of the top topics that my content needs to talk about. And here you can see that I'm hitting green for most of these. So it's going in the right direction. Now we can change that to long tail. We can have a look at topic clusters. We can see just titles. We can see blacklist. We can see SERP scores. We can do loads of stuff with this. But what I tend to do is not rely so much on Phrase to do this for me, to do the optimization. It's a good starting point, and if you just want to use Phrase, that's fine. You're going to get some good results with that anyway. But I use a different tool for the optimization. Let me show you that in a second. But let me show you how to make this content. I'll show you the process, just a quick overview of what I do. And then if you want me to go into any more detail on this particular topic, tell me in the comments and I'll create a separate in-depth tutorial. So I am currently using Conversionai. This is an AI robot that creates content. So it doesn't create all the content. It doesn't work like that. You have to think of it like a copywriting assistant. That's all it is. So you still create the content. You have to use your own knowledge to create the content. Let me show you how I've used it to create this piece of content. So here I've started off with my own paragraph. I feed it something and then I ask it questions. Let me show you. So here you can see that I've asked it, what are buyer intent keywords? Now the AI has generated all this content for me. It is factually accurate, and that's why you have to have knowledge of your topic, because sometimes the AI will bring back stuff that isn't relevant, and if you don't know your topic inside out, then of course you will just create bad content that's not accurate, right? So this is how I use it. So I tend to ask it a question. So what are keywords? And then hit compose, and it's going to bring back a paragraph or two of fairly accurate information. So it says keywords are words or phrases that people use to search for products, services, and information on the internet. So that's a pretty good start. So that's how I use it. It's just to kind of fill in the blanks in this outline. So when it comes to optimization, let me show you how I do that. This is a tool that I'm using. It's called Muse. Do not buy this unless you are pretty sure you're going to get a good return on your investment. So you have to know that your content will produce leads, that will produce revenue. If you don't have that set up, then do not invest in Muse yet. Wait until you're already up and running and it makes sense, because it can be quite expensive. So the one that I'm using at the moment, I think it's the Pro version. So let me show you how I'm using it. So we go to the optimize section. We give it a seed keyword. So what we're looking at, buyer intent keywords. So I'm going to go buyer intent keywords. I'm going to click run fetch. So it's going to analyze the SERPs in a similar way to what Phrase has done, but this is much more advanced when it comes to optimization. So it's going to take a few minutes to go out. It's going to look beyond just the first 20 pages, the first 20 results, excuse me, and it's going to create a much more detailed map of what I need to do to optimize my content. So I'm going to paste in the article from Phrase. Now it's going to give it a content score, which is 27. The target to hit is 33. It's got the word count there. The target I need to hit is around 1,700 words. On the right hand side, we've got a list of the keywords that I should be adding to the content. So I need to add buyer intent keywords, maybe a couple more times, buyer intent. So once I add all these keywords into the content in a natural way that makes sense, then it will be more optimized. And hopefully over time, I should see some good traffic from that. Once my content is already made, what I then do is distribute it across social media. So for that, I use Content Studio. This is Content Studio. So it currently costs, well, from $59 a month. But there are free alternatives out there. I think Buffer has got a pretty decent free package. I've progressed on to Content Studio because it makes content curation a whole lot easier. Anyway, what I do is create a new post, choose social media post, then I choose the profiles that I want to send it out to. I'm currently not linked up with Instagram at the moment. I need to authenticate that. But there I can distribute it across all my social media channels in one go. So that saves me a lot of time. Then I also take the audio from my videos in some instances, and then I turn it into a podcast, upload that to Libsyn, and then that is distributed across podcast networks. There you can see that the podcast is listed on Spotify. It's also on a whole heap of other podcast networks. So for that, I'm using Libsyn. I'm pretty sure there are some free alternatives out there, but I'm not too up on that. I just go with Libsyn because I think it's probably the best one around. I might be wrong about that, but plans and pricing, I think I pay around $20 a month for mine. So it starts from $5 a month, pretty reasonable. But the more content you produce, the more content you upload, the larger the storage needs to be. So that's Libsyn. So that's how I repurpose my content. And the reason why I do that is just for traffic. So the big traffic source for me is YouTube. Now, if you want to learn more about traffic generation, I've got a free course for you. Head over to profitcopilot.com/traffic. You'll see how I used the methods in that to generate around 30,000 website visitors every day on one of my hobby sites. So go check that out. I think you will find it immensely beneficial if you want more website traffic. So we know who we're talking to. We know who our audience will be. We know what content to make. We know how to make that content. But there's another very important step that we need to do when it comes to the content, and that is to add a call to action. We need to tell people what to do next. So you'll notice that in my videos, I always have, well, maybe up to 3 calls to action, which is not really advisable unless you've been doing this a long time. For most people, just the sensible thing to do is just start with 1 call to action. So the best call to action that you can give people is to ask them to subscribe to your email list. So this is how it works. So we have a piece of content here. In my case, it's a video. Yours, it could be a blog post. Doesn't matter. But at some point in that video, we ask people to leave the video, to click away, and then go to a landing page where they can enter in their email address and then click subscribe, click a subscribe button in order to get a free gift. The way I do this is with a free 4-day course. So what happens is when they subscribe, there's 2 chains of action here. 2 things can happen. So there's a choice. So immediately after they subscribe, they land on a special offer page. So this is a low ticket item that's only available for a very, very short amount of time. So they can buy that. If they don't, then they are added to an email sequence. So I'll draw on an envelope for that. So that's the choice they make. They get the free thing, irrespective if they buy or not. That's fine. They absolutely get that. Now, if they go ahead and purchase this special offer, what happens next is immediately afterwards, they're presented with another special offer. However, this is unrelated to the first product. It's a completely separate product that I believe will be also beneficial to them. So this is how you structure the upsells. This is an upsell chain. So you have your front end offer here. These will typically range between $7 up to $50 for the first sale. You want them to be low ticket impulse purchases. That's good enough. And then the upsell that comes next should not compete with the thing that they just purchased, right? So they have a problem. That's why they're coming to you. And we do our best to help them solve that problem. Now, when they buy that front end offer, their problem is going to be solved. But in doing so, that creates another problem. The way Frank Kern talks about this is the front end offer is like the fish catcher 2000. And then the upsell is the thing that you store the fish in. Because you've caught so many fish, where do you store them all? You need a special unit for that. So that's how you should think about upsells. And I know that some people will break their product in half and keep half as an upsell. Do not do that. That's unethical. It's a bit shady, and it's a really good way to destroy people's trust in you. So do not do that. Keep your upsells as completely separate products. So it doesn't matter if people buy them or not, they're still going to get the value and the education that they came for. The conversion rate on this, the front end offer, is going to be pretty low, and that's okay. That's why we have this additional email sequence. So what I do is have a 4-day sequence. So let me draw on a couple more emails, and then on each day they receive a new email. Each of these emails then sends them to another video. So this is an educational piece of content. And this is to do two things. First of all, it's to help them get more value, to help move them along their customer journey, which I'll speak about in a second, because you need to know that if you're going to create information products. So each piece of content does two things. It helps them move forward on their journey, and it also builds desire for those results. It's very important to build that desire, because at the end of this sequence, getting towards the end here, they are now moving into a state of mind where it makes absolute sense to purchase the product. Okay, they've already said no once, and that's fine. They didn't see the value in it the first time. That's fair enough. But over the course of these 4 days, we build trust. We increase their desire for results. We show them that it's possible. We help them to achieve some of those results. And then if they want to go all in, then they can go buy that product. So that's basically the real engine that creates passive income. Now, to sell products, information products, let me show you how to actually structure these, because you have to understand the customer journey. So we start here on the left-hand side with a problem. So we draw on P for problem. This is your customer, they're unhappy, and then we draw a line over here to solution. This is where they want to arrive at. This is going to help fix their problem. So what we need to do is figure out all the steps that they need to take in the order they need to take them to arrive at that destination of having solved their problem. So these are milestones. So let's put an M on each one for milestones. You can call them steps or whatever, but we take the first one and then we drill down into this in a bit more detail. So we think, okay, what steps do they need to take in order to complete that milestone? And now, if you repeat that across all of these, you have a very tight course structure, an information product course structure. But we can take this even a step further, because if we take any one of these milestones with the steps, what we can do is, let's say we take this one and we turn that into the free gift that we give people to subscribe to the email list. We're giving them actionable content that will move them forward, and then we can offer them a product that teaches them the second one, and then another product that helps them with the next step, and so on. In fact, you can also change the type of information product that you sell. So for example, this one could be a $7 ebook. The next one could be a $200 course. This one could be a $500 mentorship or $1,000 mentorship. Next one could be a group retreat for $2,000. So you can structure it like that, and then they're all linked together. They all make perfect sense. So that's kind of like how Apple do it. Listen, if you want more information on how to make these kind of products and sell from $7 right up to around $10,000 per sale, head over to profitgopilot.com/info and watch that video. So let me clear this a second, because we've spoken a lot about generating the sale. So when someone purchases, it's actually just the beginning of another process. So we don't end when they've purchased, right? We want to continue to provide value long after they've put their faith and their trust in us to help them out. So we actually over-deliver. A good way to do that is through an email sequence. So after they've purchased, they're added to a separate email list, and then they get, you guessed it, daily emails that have extra bonuses that we never mention on the front end. So the sales page and all that stuff does not mention any of these. So all these are kind of like a secret pieces of content that they get as a thank you for their faith and their trust, and helps them move even further along their journey. In my case, what I like to do is have more video content, because video content works for me. So these can be additional secret traffic sources that I never mention anywhere else, or they can be exclusive strategies that only these people will get access to. Only customers can get that. So that's the return path. That's how you build loyalty, and how people will go out and rave about you and say, this guy actually cares. Because you know yourself, when it comes to the internet, it's like the Wild West, right? We've got people doing some incredibly shady things, passing themselves off as XYZ just to get people's money, and they don't really care about helping people. But when you actually do care about people, that comes across. You know, people aren't stupid. Your customers aren't stupid. They will see that. They will see the passion and the care that you have for them. They'll connect with that, and they'll trust you for it, because you are doing it for real. In fact, this whole system that we're putting together is called the Do It For Real system, because there's nothing fake about it. It's all 100% about the customer. It's about helping them to get the best possible results that they can. Now, one really important thing with this system, or any type of internet marketing system, is you have to do testing on everything. So we have to test sales pages, landing pages, we have to test emails, and we can do that through split testing. Now, the platform that I use for my emails and my funnel pages and the whole lot really is called Kartra. Now, Kartra is an all-in-one business platform. It makes building this system really quick and easy, but it is a bit pricey. Now, you can do the same thing with WordPress. It just takes a little bit longer. If you want some WordPress templates, I've got those for you. Head over to profitgopilot.com/templates. I'm going to give you ready-made sales funnel templates that you can just deploy into WordPress. I'm also going to give you frameworks that, well, you just fill in the blanks and then you're good to go. Now, you might find this beneficial. If you want to get traffic that converts, check out this tutorial that I made a couple of days ago. Thanks for watching. I will see you there.